Now,
Recovery doesn't start tomorrow.
calling all angels.
Recovery starts right now. And here to help is Rated R for Recovery.
Calling all you angels. Calling all angels.
Welcome everybody to another edition of Rated R for Recovery. RatedRforRecovery.com. I'm an addict. My name is John.
Hey, John.
And down the hall from me, or down the table from me, is
I'm an alcoholic. My name is Joy. Welcome to the show.
we are
Joy.
we are your co-hosts weekly for Rated R for Recovery, with our website RatedRforRecovery.com and our wonderful YouTube page, which is Rated R for Recovery as well. We do the show in front of a studio audience at 507 Center Road every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. And well, a lot of people say, "Hey, John, what is Rated R for Recovery?" So I'll say, "Hey, Joy, what is Rated R for Recovery?"
Rated R for Recovery is a faith-based, recovery-driven program. What is it? Where we try to impact everyone who's been affected by addiction through interviews, sharing, and entertainment. We try to be a catalyst for change for all who wish to recover, or something like that.
Basically, that's it in a nutshell, right there, ladies and
It's a
gentlemen.
long mission statement.
We have a few announcements before we start the show. Joy, you want to start?
Yeah, I want to start out with WRAP, Wellness Recovery Action Plan, which is actually a grief share. I forget to mention the part about the grief. It's a safe and caring space to share, heal, and find hope. They use the guidance of this WRAP program to explore practical tools to support healing, build resilience, and nurture hope. It's every Wednesday from 3 to 4 right here at 50 Center Road in Fort Myers, or you can connect with Kimmies Recovery on the internet and find out more. Also, the last Thursday of every month, which will be this Thursday, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, will be Coffee and Canteen. Start your morning with hot coffee and good company, uplifting fellowship with fellow veterans, followed by grocery shopping for all veterans in need. Come early, stay connected, and leave with essentials. Last Thursday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., or you can Zoom in for that one.
Joy, I was just made aware of a contest that iHeartRadio is doing. iHeart is the largest broadcasting company in the United States since Westwood One has gone to a specific of sports radio.
All
It
right.
says, could you host a podcast, win a 6-episode podcast? So we could apply for that.
Let's do it.
I think we should. And then our good friend, our associate producer, Eileen Kay, is the one that's going to help us with that. Sent it. She's nodding yes. We save the date, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a yearly fundraiser for Kimmy's Recovery Zone. It is called Party in the Park. This year it's at Lake Kennedy Park. It is September 12th, starting at 11 a.m. You'll see all sorts of keynote speakers. In fact, the keynote speaker is a state senator, Joy.
Yes.
Yes, and her name is Rosalind Osgood, and she will be speaking, and she's in recovery.
I know. I'm really excited about that.
Yes, right. So that's great to know. We want to say hi to the Salvation Army, who listens and makes us part of their curriculum every
guys.
Friday. Hello to Salvation Army, and thank you very much for doing that. If you didn't come to Grace Church on Friday night, you missed out. And there was a fentanyl awareness and fentanyl, what was the
vigil for
vigil and not to combat, but just to, I forget the word. Anyway, so there was a whole big thing done on with people speaking about how they lost children. The founder of Kimmy's Recovery Zone, Al Kinkel, he lost his daughter to fentanyl overdose, and that's why Kimmy's Recovery Zone exists to this day.
And we call it fentanyl poisoning because because a lot of times you don't know what's in your drugs, and many times it's fentanyl.
Yes, and there's actually something new that's out on the market that I wasn't aware of until the associate producer Eileen Kay told me, and that was there's a testing you can do for your dope that tells you whether or not fentanyl's in it or not.
Yeah, they had those for free Friday night.
Yep, yeah, they did. They did. And this is the Saving a Life box right here. It's Narcan. Kimmy's Recovery Zone distributes it all through Lee, Charlotte, and Collier County. There's a free Narcan distribution box outside the front door. Come by and pick some up. Everybody should have it in your car. And like we said that one time, we said, well, let me introduce Lisa. Everybody, welcome Lisa to the show.
Thank you.
Lisa, thanks for being part of Rated R for Recovery. I was just going to include you in the conversation as opposed to sitting here like a lump. You can be part of what we're talking about. I said to somebody, "Do you have this in your car?" Remember, Joy? And they said, "I don't need that in my car. I
Right.
I don't come in contact with those people."
But you never know where you're going to meet
But you
someone.
never know.
Grocery store,
Never know.
convenience store,
Yep.
at the mall.
Yep. Our friend Brittany, who's over here, had to stop and pull over to administer Narcan and save somebody's life. This is a life-saving little box here. And so everybody should have it in their car, especially with the overdose rate on well, it's on the decline right now, thank goodness, but it does take a lot of lives. And so we'll try to save as many lives as we can.
And the decrease in deaths is partly due to having Narcan.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good
Le-
to be here. Thanks
Lisa-
for asking.
Lisa is the CEO, CFO,
CEO.
CEO of the River District in downtown Fort Myers. Did I say that right?
Yes.
What-
The RDA
RDA, River District
Alliance.
Alliance. What is that?
The River District Alliance has been around for a couple of decades now, and we are the producers of Art Walk, which is going into its 19th year, Music Walk, which is going into its 18th year, and those are monthly events, and we also do the New Year's Eve celebration downtown, the St. Patrick's Day celebration, and the July 4th, where I met you, John.
Yes, we did. And so this is a wonderful thing you get to do. You get to engage with business owners and everything's up tempo and everybody's hopefully looking forward to having a good time. But your life wasn't always like that, was it?
No, it was not. Can I start out
I think
saying,
you should.
my name is Lisa and I'm an alcoholic and my sobriety date is September 1st, 2000.
Woo!
So I will be
Lisa.
celebrating in about a week 26 years of sobriety.
Very
Beautiful.
good. I think, Joy, did you want to say, were you motioning to me?
I don't remember what it was now.
Okay, so go ahead, Lisa. I'm sorry. What was it like? When did you start drinking?
Oh, I probably started drinking when I was 15 and I noticed that I didn't have a turn off switch. I didn't drink every day. I didn't drink every single time I went out. I was raised by very strict New York Italian Catholic parents. And so I really wasn't given a lot of free reign to do things. I've always been independent and wanted to explore, and that was not really encouraged in my family. And so I would, again, being raised in that Italian New York family, there was always a bottle of wine next to my grandfather, and they would pour me some, and it was okay. But once I hit my teenage years, I really wanted to try alcohol, and I liked it because it made me not feel, I lost all my inhibitions, and
Well-
I felt pretty and popular.
What part of New York?
A little town called Mayapack, New York. It's on the it's
My,
about 40 miles north of New
my
York
father
City.
was raised in Mayapack.
Really?
Yes, yes.
That's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to talk.
Yes. My dad was, but my dad was born in 1919. My dad's part of the World War II generation, and the Levines or Levines were a popular family in Mayapack, and those were my uncles and aunts because my dad was adopted. But that's enough about that.
We'll talk because the Levines lived around the lake.
So, okay. Anyway, so now you say you're kind of not given free reign, but yet you started drinking at 15. How did you manage to do that? Or was it
Just,
the wine?
I would, when I was allowed out, which was like once a week, it was, I would, just drink, down at the railroad tracks with my friends, and I was the one that would always drink to excess and act
Yeah.
like a fool. No, well, maybe not always, but early on. And so I tried to control it early on. I didn't really drink that much, or when I did, it was controlled. And I didn't have a problem until till life started becoming a problem for me.
When you did drink, it's funny you say by the railroad tracks because does every
Yep.
small town have railroad tracks that you drink
Well,
by?
every town does,
I
and
think so. I think so. What happened when you went home? Like, did your mom and dad ever sense that you've been drinking?
No,
No.
no,
Very good. Good for you.
no.
Good for you. Yes, when I fell down the stairs, that was the keynote for me. So how did this progress?
So then I went to college, and so I'm from this very small town right outside of New York City. And I went to a small Catholic college in Shawnee, Oklahoma.
wow.
So that was a big leap for me to go. My parents, again, being very strict, they were like, you could either stay at home and go and commute to college, or you can go and to this Catholic college where I had an aunt and uncle living there, and you could go there. And I was like, I'm going to Oklahoma. And that was like the first, the alcoholic personality started showing. Like, why would anybody do? I mean, that was just a crazy little decision I made because I wanted to be a little freer, and I didn't want that control. And I was there for 1 year, and then I transferred to the University of Oklahoma. I joined a sorority, and I was off to the races.
races.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a crazy decision at all. Do you, Joy? When you're held under the parents' thumb, you probably, or I shouldn't say you probably, I probably want to get as far away from that as possible.
Right, but so I can stay home and commute to college, or I can go to an all-girls Catholic college, a small college in Oklahoma.
Okay, but then, like Lisa said, she transferred after the first year to
Yeah,
a huge college.
yeah, big time.
And nobody was there to tell me that I could do something or not do something, because I was still, it was a mixed, boys and girls, but it was run by Jesuit priests from
Huh.
Fordham University, and it was a very strict curriculum, and monks, abbots, they were all there.
What
and
year was this?
This was 1979. It was called
Okay.
St. Gregory's College in Shawnee, Oklahoma. And I knew that if I was there for a year and I did well, which I did, my parents would let me
Move on to
move
something
on
else.
to something else.
Now, so I graduated high school in 1975, and in my junior and senior year, drugs were everywhere, as well as alcohol. Alcohol being the most abused drug in the world. But then there was weed, and then there was what was Aurora 714s? What were those?
Quaaludes?
Quaaludes, yep, and speed and acid. Were you exposed to any of that?
I was, but I didn't really. And this is so funny because I laugh at this. It was like, oh, I don't want to smoke pot. I don't want to take speed
But I'll
because
drink a
then,
gallon of vodka.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I want to always know where I am.
Yeah.
Like that made absolutely no sense to
Well,
me.
that's what cocaine is for.
That's funny. Okay, so how did this? You're still a managing
Mhm,
drinker.
mhm.
The sororities come up now. That must have taken this to a different level, right?
It did, because again, I had no one telling me what I needed to do, and because I had someone always telling me what time I needed to come home, what time I was going to eat. And in the sorority, I was responsible, when I was away at college, I was responsible for myself. And I made a lot of choices early on in my college years that I just wish that I wouldn't, because they were very out of character for me, and I did them when I was drinking, or I started making decisions because yeah, I may not have been drinking, but still that the effects of alcohol as they linger on, I just made them. So I made some, I did things that were embarrassing,
Yeah.
that were just very out of my character.
We don't have a drinking problem. We have a thinking problem. And if we change the way we think, then we change the way we live.
Mhm.
And the attraction to the drink can be attraction to the lifestyle, can it be? So we make decisions based on whether or not I get out of class on time to do my homework and go to the club.
Mhm.
Was that your experience?
Yes, and I didn't even go to class. I mean,
Oh,
I
okay.
just kind of, it was just life was a party. And this again was the early 80s now at this time. And there were all these clubs and all these beautiful people doing all these great things. And that's what I wanted to be a part of. I just wanted to, and I was smart enough that I was able to not go to class and still maintain grades.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you have the big hair like Madonna? Did you have that
No,
look?
I tried. It
You
didn't
did,
work.
okay.
So
I never worried about the big hair. I was always a hippie.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, that's
well,
fine.
and sorority life was a little. It was the polo shirts and the J Crew. It was a little. It was a little
Oh, really?
different.
So it was
Yes,
more. Oh, I
it was
see.
very preppy. It was
G and T's by the pool. That type
yeah,
of thing.
yeah. It was like that, and I
Very
was
good.
yeah, it was
Oh,
different,
okay,
but I liked it.
so you could do this and get away with it, and not and your grades didn't suffer. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, except I wasn't taking as many classes. So at that point, I said to my parents, well, I think it's going to take me 5 years to finish. And they looked at me and said, it can take you as long as you want, but we're only paying for 4. So I
Step
tested
it up.
out. Yeah, I tested out. I think I took 72 hours in 1 year just because I knew they were serious. And so I was able to graduate when I was supposed to. But so I wasn't drinking as much then because I knew the gig was up. But then I went home after I graduated, and my parents, I love there was a show called Modern Family, and
Oh yeah.
it, and one of the one daughter leaves and she goes to college, and when she comes home it like messes with the whole
Yeah.
family. So I come home and I'm all excited to be home, and they're like, "Oh my God, she's back." And so at that point my dad was like, "All right, why don't you go back to Oklahoma and get your graduate, go what are your goals?" So I was like, "I want to go back to school because school is fun." So he was like, "All right, get your MBA." And then I was like, "I want to go to law school after that." And he was like, "You go right ahead and go, and we'll take care of that."
Wow.
What, did
So,
you?
well, I did, but the drinking got in
Mhm.
the way, and I found myself pregnant, and I was with a boyfriend that I was with from the time I was 18, but then broken up, all of
Yeah,
this.
I
So
had that.
yeah, so I
Now, wait a minute. Now, you're from a strict Catholic Italian family. How
exactly.
did mom and dad take to the becoming grandparents?
Not well, and
Not,
plus, you have to
not
remember,
well.
I am 23 at the time, and they're offering me life, this wonderful life, and they flew to Oklahoma, so because I was getting married there, but they didn't speak to me. So
Oh.
everybody flew to Oklahoma, including grandparents and everything. And nobody was speaking to me. But yeah, we got married in the Catholic church, and I found the one Catholic in Oklahoma that we were, yeah, and so we got married.
Meant for each other.
And okay, so let's keep going. Where does this take us?
So then I'm thinking, oh, well, I'm going to continue to get my MBA, and then I'm going to go to law school. And they said, oh, no, you got married. It's done. You were done. Yeah. So,
Who said that?
my
Oh, your
parents.
parents said. Oh,
So
Yeah.
they're like, no,
not
sorry,
paying
the
for it.
money train is done. So, and he wanted to go to medical school. So
Mhm.
we worked for him to get back to school and to go to medical school. So we had one child, then we had another child, and then he started medical school. And I don't really want to talk so much about somebody else's drinking, but somebody else loved to party just as much as I did. And that continued throughout the whole marriage.
Yeah, I married my best drinking buddy.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so so let's get in lieu of time here because we would definitely want to get to the most important part of an interview, which is what it's like today as a clean and sober person. What is the bottom? What was the when you said, "Oh, I can't do this anymore"? You describe that.
So, what had happened was my dad had passed away, and then in 1 year, and then I got divorced, which was my choice to get divorced with now 3 children, and And then, so one year dad passes, the next year I get divorced, and then the next year I find myself in alcohol. I find myself in a 12-step program. And what had led up to that, which is a story that I like to tell because um, it just goes far back to how much people do, if people don't want to get help, they won't get it, and how denial really works. So, 5 years before I found myself in a 12-step program, I went to a treatment facility called Charter Glade. I had woken up one morning and in a hotel room. Now I'm the mother of three, and I live in this very nice house in this very nice neighborhood. And I have absolutely no idea how I got there. I have absolutely no idea what had happened the night before. I didn't know if my car, I knew
Right.
nothing. And I went back home. My car was there. I went home, and my children were playing soccer, and my husband had taken them there. And I went to him and I said, I'm checking myself into Charter Glade. And he said, No, you're not. And I said, Oh, yes, I am. And I was like, You're not going to stop me. So I don't know what transpired there, but I got to Charter Glade and I told them I was crazy, never had a problem with alcohol, but I was crazy and I needed to be admitted immediately. And they said, Well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put you in a program that you could, come 3 days a week. And so, and it's a program for alcoholism. And I said, But I don't have a problem with alcoholism. I have a problem. I'm crazy. I'm just crazy. And they said, Just do this. So I went every week, 3 times a week for 3 months. And during that whole time, I would introduce myself because we had to every day. And I would say, Hello, my name is Lisa. I am not an alcoholic. I am only sitting here because the crazy class is filled. And I did this for 3 months. And it was all alcohol treatment. It was all, and I fit that profile 100%. And everybody else in there. And I was like, I just don't know why I'm here.
So what changed? What changed? When did the light go off where you said, "Gosh, I am an alcoholic"?
So 5 years later, I was sitting in an apartment with my 3 children, and I had seen a therapist, and she said, "Listen, there's this great women's meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning. I think you need to go to it." And I was like, But I'm not an alcoholic." She goes, "Just try it once. I think you're going to like it." And that night, my 15-year-old son had looked at me, and he said, "You are disgusting. You are worse than dad. At least he doesn't lie to us and tell us that he's going to quit drinking." And I looked at my 3 children and I thought, and I wanted to kill myself. And that was the moment that I knew that there was something, because I said, either you're going to get sober or you're going to kill yourself. Like, I was contemplating suicide. And that in itself was crazy. And so I decided, and I do believe this by the grace of God, that I said, I'm going to that 8 o'clock meeting. And I went to that meeting, and there were women in there who shared their experience, strength, and hope. And it was the first time I felt like somebody understood me, and they were each telling me their stories. And I never found another reason to drink again. Those women saved my life. And after 26 years, I still get very emotional when I think about that, because I truly would have died if it were not for the ladies in that room that day.
Wow.
I think that's wonderful. I think that's wonderful. And when you were talking, this came to mind, Joy. Tell me if it's in when she was talking about that. It says that saying that, or that part of the big book that says, going on to the bitter end, blotting out the consciousness of our intolerable situation. We had two alternatives. One was going on to the bitter end, blotting out the consciousness of our intolerable situation, or pick up the kit of spiritual tools laid at our feet. We have a spiritual solution to a physical problem, and that's what the 12 steps offer us. So what's life like today?
So I at first I played around in the room. I didn't drink, but I was not. I didn't know anything about Alcoholics Anonymous. I
Some
didn't know anything
fellowship
about
stuff and going to meetings
meetings.
and meeting people
And it was fun. And then I finally got serious, and I got a sponsor who was serious. And she said to me, my great grand sponsor, Midge, said, I'm going to tell you something, Lisa. If you do what we ask you to do, you are going to have a life better than you ever imagined. And she was 100% right. I never would have imagined the life that I had today. It turned out better, and it keeps on getting better. And it's not because I do fun things or I have people in my life that I love. I have a family. That between my husband and I, we have 7 children. We have 5 grandchildren. My mom is still with us. I have a great job. I have friends that I truly love and believe in, and I'm at peace. I could sit in my living room and just be quiet and drink my coffee and not feel so chaotic. And as I did, when again, I think we touched a little bit on how I didn't go to jail. There was none of this nonsense. And I heard early on in the rooms that there are 4 L's that will bring you into a treatment. And it was liquor. They were 4 L's, the law, your liver, a lover, or labor. And I was like, there's 5 because there was Lisa. And Lisa said, I've had enough. And I had enough. And I never wanted to drink ever again because I knew for me to drink, I would die.
That's awesome story. Awesome story. Yeah. Give Lisa a nice round of applause. That was wonderful. So, we hurt the people we love and that love us the most. I want to ask you just 2 more questions. The relationship with your 3 children, that was a gradual process of healing?
It's been a continual process of healing because, I had a 15-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 5-year-old. The 5-year-old does not remember me drinking. The 15-year-old and 13-year-old did. And plus they had another parent that continues to drink. So I could see them in their adulthood, and they're successful. They're all successful, but I could see, and it was, this 26 years, they weren't always talking to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't always,
Sure.
There are consequences
Absolutely.
to this, and especially with young children. And so, yeah, I'm just grateful that at least I quit when I quit, and that I could try to mend them. And to me, I live a living amends to them always.
On a daily basis, and that's a wonderful thing. So Lisa is a great example of what it was like, what happened, and what it's like today. We're going to take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we have our second segment called Kimmy's Corner, and we have Sprout Recovery going to talk to Al about what they do. You're listening to Rated R for Recovery at ratedrforrecovery.com. We'll be right back.
Have you been charged with a crime? You could face serious penalties for conviction, and it is vitally important that you have skilled legal assistance on your side during this time. Call Brian L. Edwards, Esquire, attorney at law today. 888-512-6254. Results matter. With a track record of success, our methods are tried and true. Mistakes happen, but we can help. Brian L. Edwards, Esquire, attorney at law. Visit FortMyersCriminalLawFirm.com or call 888-512-6254.
Kimmy, I hope I'm making you proud.
He had a little girl named Kimmy with a laugh that lit the room. Then fentanyl came like a storm cloud and took her away too soon. He kneeled down by her bedside with a prayer he could not shake. Then he said, I won't just break here, I will build for others' sake. So he opened up the doors where the hurting could walk in, with a couch, a meal, a blanket, and a chance to start again. Kimmy's Recovery Zone. Kimmy's Recovery Zone. For our community. For our community. Where the hungry find a table and the lost can find a home. Kimmy's Recovery Zone. Kimmy's
Kimmy, I hope I'm making you proud. Hi, this is Al Kinkle. We would like to invite everyone to Party in the Park 2026 on September 12th during National Recovery Month. This year's event will be held at Lake Kennedy Center in Cape Coral, Florida. For sponsorship packages and volunteer info, visit kimmiesrecoveryzone.org. Let's make this year's event the most memorable yet.
When children have to play inside so they don't disappear.
Welcome back to Rated R for Recovery.
Calling all angels.
Welcome back to Rated R for Recovery, ratedrforrecovery.com. Again, if you haven't done it already, please go to YouTube, like and subscribe to us, and then hit that little notification button so anytime we try something different, you'll be the first to know. Join us next week as our guest will be Michael from Teen Challenge, and Kimmy's Korner will have a special guest, and then our musical guest, Al.
Yes.
Is a young lady that toured with Melissa Etheridge for a long period of time. She has she's won multiple awards as singer-songwriter competition in the state of Florida. Her name is Kelly Neff, and she'll be entertaining us next week. That's all next week, ladies and gentlemen, right here at Rated R for Recovery.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I can't wait to see her again.
Yes, she's been a good friend of the show for many years.
Yeah.
So right now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bow out for a minute and turn the mics over to Joy and our wonderful host here at Kimmy's Recovery Zone, the founder of Kimmy's Recovery Zone, Mr. Al Kinkle.
Hey, John, you forgot to, why don't you do your little thing on Narcan? I mean, you always send that, show it, or do you want to wait till the end?
We did.
Oh, you
we
did it?
Yeah.
Oh, you did it in the
We can
beginning?
do it again. You want to do it again?
I was sleeping. I probably missed it.
Well, that's what happens. You need to take naps every now and then, and right before the show is probably a very good time to do that.
That's all right. As long as you did it, it's okay.
yeah.
Because you're so good at that, man.
Did you look at the views from the awareness, the overdose awareness last week?
No, I
There's
did
quite a
not.
few
we
views
hit
that
50?
Michael and Mark put up there, little clips of you and I, and they came out very well.
You know what? I looked. I didn't see it. I'll have to look again tonight for sure.
Well, let's hunt them down.
Yeah, I got to make sure that my hair is combed and I got my makeup on right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Very good.
well, tonight we're excited. We have Sprout here tonight, and we're going to learn a little bit about what you do. We're understanding.
That's the name of the company, not his name, right? Sprout. You said we have.
His name is Sprout. Brussels is the name of the company. So, at any rate, we're so happy that you're here tonight, and you're going to tell us a little bit about what you do and your name and where you're located.
There you go.
And I think that's a good idea to say that tonight. We'll do it up front and at the back too. It's nice, you know.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah,
And so this is Daniel,
Yeah.
everybody.
yeah. Daniel, we're excited. We're excited. We have Daniel here tonight. And Daniel, where are you located at, Daniel?
So Sprout is in Fort Myers,
Okay,
Florida. Yeah.
all right. And Sprout, what do you think some of the biggest barriers that you might have for treatment at Sprout, and kind of explain some of the treatment that you have there?
I think a barrier might be, I guess, I don't know if this is really a barrier. It might just be, trying to help people in the best way that we possibly can would possibly be, finding the right sort of treatment, right? Whether that be inpatient. So if we find somebody that might need a higher level of care, or if we feel like somebody could use other resources, we try to direct them in the best way.
So what does Sprout do? Are you a day program? Are you a inpatient program?
We're an outpatient facility for mental health and addiction. So we have like individual therapy or med management and IOP or PHP programs. And then we also have other treatments. I usually say they're non-traditional, but it's just neurofeedback and TMS or transcranial magnetic stimulation.
Oh,
Cool. No, there's no sober living homes.
Yeah, so those are out, like not, I guess not really the outpatient services, but we have sober living that is one of the programs that we have. You don't have to be in our outpatient services to be in the sober living, and then you also don't have to be in our program to be in the other program that we provide, which is a financial assistance application.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
how many beds do you have in sober living, or how many facilities do you have?
So we have 3 houses, 2 men's houses and 2 women's houses, or 2 men's houses and 1 women's house.
Oh, okay.
The cool thing about our sober livings is that there's a possible scholarship, and that can cover the cost of living. When people are coming out of treatment, or depending on their circumstance, it can help with the cost of living while they're there. And I don't know. I think that has house rules, and generally, we relay those. I usually relay those messages to people when they're trying to be a part of the sober living. It's in experience, I think it's very common with most sober living house rules, and I think it's a good environment for people when they're really trying to stay sober and continue their lives in a productive and just
Yeah.
And not
good
just
way.
do your 30 days in treatment or detox and then come out and go back to the same situation you were in before. It's
Yeah.
an alternative that can help you get back on your feet.
Yeah.
And get you balanced well. You got to get balanced back in that little swing of things, and it gives them a chance to do that. And it's interesting that you give scholarships, because that's so important. A lot of people might not have insurance, or they're a little short on funds and things like that. So if somebody needed scholarship funds, I mean, I'm sure you have a procedure for that somehow, that they can ask for that, or get that somehow.
So usually what I just tell somebody on the phone if they call is just to fill out the application. And then from there, I'll give them a call when I've had a chance to review it and kind of go through house rules and details about their application. And then usually at the end is when I let them know more about the scholarship.
Yeah, so and when somebody's short, could be a couple $100 sometimes, or it could even be $100, and then they might miss that whole program if they don't get that money. So it's great that you're giving some scholarship money out. So thank you for doing that.
I agree. Yeah, thank you.
Uh, Go ahead. So what do you got?
There was one other one that I mentioned was the financial assistance application.
Yes.
So that one helps with past due rent, past due mortgage, past due utilities. It also can help with first and last months or deposits into a new living situation as well. The only thing that I usually, tell people when they call, just to save them time and to kind of help the process, is the person that applies does have to have a history of substance use.
Okay.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
what I was wondering about, whether it was dual diagnosis, whether it was mental health and or substance abuse.
Yeah. And that's important, us talking about that. It's why is it important to treat substance use and brain health challenges together? And that's always been a question. We've talked about it over the years and all that. So what makes it so important to treat them?
I think that a lot of the time, it kind of goes hand in hand, right? Mental health and addiction really tie together. I mean, my short time in college, I learned a word called comorbid, where how I understood it was that they're tied together. So if somebody struggles with mental health, they can possibly struggle with addiction. And if somebody struggles with addiction, they can usually struggle with mental health.
And like our last guest said, she just insisted that alcohol was not her problem, that she was just crazy. Whereas you also have people who are in addiction and they will admit to that, but they don't want anyone to think that they're crazy, and they try to be normal when they're just, you can't think clearly coming out of the fog of addiction.
When I think of that, I think of like in AA, how they say it's an allergy, and we
Yes.
use once and we continuously go. Like we can't. So I know that resonates with me a lot, and I feel like that's where people might start to feel crazy in a way, right? Where they feel like they can't, drink socially or do things normally or whatever it might be, and that might make them feel a little uneasy. But I think that it's okay to, admit that we're powerless and that we have, whether that be not crazy, but mental health issue, if we're sad or feeling depression or whatever, I think it's okay to come to the conclusion and kind of try to understand those things.
Well, and especially with alcohol, it's a depressant. And so if you're going to pour depressants down your throat for 20 years, you may have some issues with depression.
Yeah. So, a misconception that most people have about addiction, what misconception that we have when we're looking at addiction that does the most harm? The stigma, the misconception that people don't get better and they're just drug users. What's some of those things that you run across? Same as us, I guess.
Yeah, the first one that came to mind was in speaking with somebody the other day was that, it's not possible to get better, to recover from addiction, that it'll be something that'll follow you for, and that not just addiction, but also mental health.
Yeah,
It is possible, that's one of the reasons why I was able to stay firm in my recovery was seeing other people that showed that they were able to, and it made me realize that it was possible as well. So I think that's one of the biggest things is people feeling like it's not real or it's not possible to stay sober and continue to live a life
right.
that way.
So, in your addiction, we had talked about that a little bit prior, and so you were in active addiction at one point, and I also understand that you were homeless for a while.
Yeah, I was homeless for a couple years and then was sober and then decided to be homeless again. It was more of wanting to do the things that I wanted to do and forget the world.
Mm-hmm.
But it was tough. Being homeless is not easy. I think that you exhaust all your resources. You really depend on, just using at that point, and then you're kind of stuck. So I think that's where treatment centers like Sprout or inpatient programs really come in, and Kimmies as well, helping in different ways that you can help is really beneficial to people. But the homelessness aspect was really a difficult challenge that with good support, support systems and people that cared about me, and I guess me ultimately wanting to be uh, better as well was a big part of it too.
Right. And when you're homeless, I guess too, you're thinking, well, this is really where I belong, and I'm going to stick this out, and it kind of works for a while, and then finally you find out, it's not working so good. So let me get my feet wet again.
So I guess I felt it was comfortable while I was homeless
Right.
until it felt like it wasn't.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it works until it just doesn't work
yeah,
anymore, and you know something has to change, but
Mhm.
you don't really want to change, but things can't stay the same, and so you get stuck in your head and in the addiction, and you feel like there's no way out.
Right.
So you end up in treatment, and one of the things that I talk about in the first days is what are you going to do differently, and do you have a support system where you when you leave here,
Mhm.
and it's something that you can do it within the 30 days is begin to build a small support system for yourself or find a sober living place to go where you can have support around you to walk a different path.
Right. And something he just said just a minute ago was that, addiction follows you. Of course, a lot of us believe, well, we're clean and sober for a week, so we're, it's over. It's all over. But don't realize that that's a trip that you're going to take for a long, 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 long time, like the rest of your life. So, so people that feel that way, finally, when you get them up on their feet, what's some of the things that you find helpful to do that?
something I wish I could just tell people individually would be to, try to understand as much about your life and like addiction, right? I think AA really helps me in that, like the 12-step program. Me personally, right? And this is why I wish I could tell people this directly. And I feel like in treatment with a therapist and from professionals that understand this can also tell you this to a certain extent, but it's a continuing thing.
Right.
Where I learned was in AA, basically that there was stories where people would all of a sudden just believe that they were cured. They could drink all of a sudden,
Right.
and I actually that kind of happened to me in a way. And when I relapsed, is I think sometimes it takes that, right? They say rock bottom. I think it just takes, trial and error sometimes. Hopefully, it doesn't get too serious, right? I don't think everybody's perfect and gets sober their first time and just takes off with it. But I think there's a lot of, and this is right, my opinion, I think there's a lot of ways where you can figure out how to become better and manage your life. And the most important thing is that it's possible, right?
Yeah,
There's
I didn't know
Yeah.
what recovery would mean to me. I hadn't been sober in a long time, and so what? You know what I mean? So now I'm not going to drink now. What is there? And to look and see possibilities, and to have someone tell me, lift up your eyes and look around. There's a whole world out there that has possibilities, and you don't feel like it's for you. But something that the big book also talks about is that you will have a new freedom and a new happiness. So I can't tell you what you're going to get because it's going to be new and it's going to be for you. But it's there. It's waiting for you.
Yeah, people. Yeah, it's funny when you talk to certain people at certain times in their life when they don't realize, like they're in it for the long haul, and they're in it for the meetings, and they're in it for NA, CA, you know, Narcotics Anonymous, CA, Alcoholics Anonymous, any religious, churches and things like that. Some people feel like they can just do it on their own, and it's a rough road to ride. It does happen for some people, but finding out that you're not alone and you do have help and people want to help, and you become that much better person, and life becomes just one big dream from
And
that point on.
to have a small support system around you that I also tell people 9 times out of 10, you're going to be thinking correctly and you're going to be doing well and good for you. And you're sober now and you make your own decisions. But there'll be that one time where a thought gets in there and you'll grab a hold of it like, I can drink like a normal person, or I don't need this support anymore, or whatever that comes into your brain that tries to take you away from what's good for you. And that small support group will say, hey, wait, that you're off the beam on that one. Let's think about that.
If we had it right, if we had that thought right the first time, maybe we wouldn't be where we were, if we understood that, then why did we do the things that we did?
And again, if it was about understanding or if it was about learning, we could all get it and we could all
Yeah,
do it and we could graduate, but that's not what it's about.
right.
It's a spiritual answer to a physical and mental problem. And like John always says, I don't have a drinking problem. I have a thinking problem. And it's always telling me, to pick up.
And there's something you just said, a thinking problem, because, what do we do when we've had someone try treatment several times and haven't had lasting success? And, one of the things, we were talking about it earlier, one of the things you think about is it's like any other disease. I mean,
Yes,
you
there's
get,
a treatment
there's a
for it and you
treatment,
have to do the treatment.
and if you don't do the treatment, you're going to be sick for a long, long time, and also will take you out sooner or later. So we want to make sure that they understand that this is a long-term situation. It's not a short-term deal. And you need treatment, and you need to get support, and you're not alone, and you need to be around people that have like interest like you do, like getting better. If I have cancer, I want to get better, so I'm going to do everything I can to do that. And when you get cancer comes back, nobody's going to complain to you about having cancer again.
Right.
But if you relapse, everybody wants to chop your head off. I know I did.
I wish I had the answer to how not to relapse, but I think, everybody's journey is different. Everybody goes about it differently, comes out of it differently, right? I think that, like you guys are saying, it's, you ultimately have to have all the support. You have to
Mhm.
treat it almost like an illness where you're constantly maintaining and being aware of the things that you're doing in your life.
And it's not hard to do it. It doesn't take up 24 hours of your day, but it is something that, you just need to be mindful, and especially those of us who get into addiction, we tend to live in the past or live in the future instead of living in today. And what I heard a lot was keep your head where your feet are. And if you come back to that, and to tell myself, I have everything I need at this moment. At this moment, I have everything I need. And that was a really good little meditation for me, and I still use it. At this moment, we're good.
It sounds
And
like a grounding technique.
and in this moment, that's where God is.
Yeah,
He's not in the past and he's
yeah.
not in the future. He's in today.
100% agree with that. And I mean, AA does teach to have a higher power that they call God, if I remember correctly in the
Hmm.
book, and the way that they explain it. I firmly believe in a spiritual, part of healing with mental health and addiction. I guess everybody, like I said before, is different in that way. People might understand it differently, but it's important to have that aspect, right?
Yeah.
The health and the healing with all the parts that come with the spirituals.
Yeah.
Yeah, and whatever works,
Yeah.
but just because I use the word God, eh, I do want to be inclusive of everyone who, wants a spiritual awakening and to continue in sobriety. And the most important thing is to have some guidance and work through either some steps or a program to get you sober to help you stay sober, but whatever works.
Yeah, and different pathways. I mean, we come to know that now. All of us know that now. Even if you have a certain pathway that's your favorite, we all, being in this recovery zone, we all know that there's different pathways, and certain things work for certain people and certain things don't.
It
So,
just doesn't
yeah.
seem to work alone.
No, you
You know,
cannot
you,
Yeah.
do it alone. Absolutely not. And the first step out the door is the best step. The second step's even better. And then you keep walking straight on and you come to the light and it's all there for you, man. So you just have to be patient with yourself, number one, and just remember that you do need support and keep doing that. And that's what you're doing at Sprout.
and
You're
so
supporting them.
And so getting back to that, do I have to come out of a treatment center to come see you? Um,
You can come from any situation, whether that be jail, homeless, or, so any situation, right? Not to be too specific, but any situation, really, if we can help you, we will. Um, and we try to help people in the best way possible. I, yeah, I think that anybody really that needs a place that is going to help them stay sober and, where they want to grow and
mm,
be a member of society, or just maybe reunite with their family or the people in their lives that matter. I think that our sober living is an option. We also have, if people that are struggling later in life, they've already gotten maybe a couple of years, and the financial assistance application can help in that regard, where they're maybe had their job let them go, or they had a member in their family pass away where they needed to step away from work. So those are all, but the only thing is, for the financial assistance application, the person does have to have a history of substance use.
Yeah, I got a
oh,
question
okay.
on that. How do you find the population today, the older population, and are you running into that a lot? Like our statistics are showing that the older population, especially people that zero out of money, and they have one, they had a family and now there's just one person and they got the bills of somebody that had two incomes coming in the house. And do you see a lot of that at Sprouts? Does much of the older population hit your scene, or is it mostly a younger group?
I feel like I've seen, honestly, a wide range. It's not
Hmm.
been more to one side or the other. It's,
Okay.
been middle, or young, middle, and old. And when it comes to like the sober living and financial assistance application, those are really there to help, is how I want to say it. But like for treatment, if somebody doesn't have health insurance, for example,
Hmm.
one of the options that we have for self-pay, or even if they do have health insurance to help pay for costs, is Care Credit, which is a credit card for medical bills that can, help with, that aspect. There's details with that can help, where it's like a period of time where there's no interest, where you can pay a bill that way. um, Honestly, for the most part, we just want to help people in the best way that we can. I think that everybody comes from a different background or a different situation, but
Hmm.
whatever way we can help, we will.
Yeah, yeah, we're a wide range of the population, but it just happened to pop up the last couple years now, where we're getting hit with the older population and the rents, and a lot of people, rents are going so sky high that causes a lot of those things. So when people look at people that are in those situations, they often think badly of them, and it's just a situation that put them there. It might not
Hmm.
be drugs, it might not
Yeah,
be
why can't you
any of
take
that.
care of yourself? What's the matter with you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If
Okay,
it, yeah,
so
sorry.
Go ahead.
I
Joe.
would no, I hope that, if there is an older population that is struggling with that, that they can find our resources. Maybe I can speak to, the team at the office and mention that, right? I really think that's a good point.
Yeah.
You know, to seek out in whatever way we can, every age and every population. So
We're all, I think we all feel the same, but some of us don't get any of that at all. We're blessed here. We do see a wide range of people, so, our circle's big, and then, so we get a lot of different people. And, like just recently too, I'm seeing a lot of young children coming around here with their parents, that are struggling and having some difficulties. And as we know, things are getting more expensive. Gas is expensive, food's expensive. So, and jobs are getting a little harder to get, I think. I'm not sure exactly what it is around here, but they are getting harder to get. And how can families support recovery without enabling harmful behavior? So, what do you talk to the families when people come in, or is that do they come in as an independent, and you really don't get to meet anybody else?
I think it just depends on the situation. Somebody can reach out on behalf of somebody,
Okay,
and I'm so sorry.
somebody's reaching.
It's my alarm.
calling.
We're closing
Time to
down.
get up.
Somebody needs help.
But I forgot where I was. Yeah, so people can reach out and, for another person, or, if it's like a parent, I mean, if the child is a minor, I don't think that we work with children that are under the age of 18, I believe, for certain
Right. Yeah.
things. But like if it's a wife or a parent of an older person as well, they can reach out on their behalf, and as long as the person shows up, I'm more than willing to talk to them and get to know them and see what's going on. But that's really that it's just that simple. Like if somebody is in your family and they're struggling, you can reach out to me to get to know and how we can help, what we offer and how we can help. And then the other real thing though is them truly wanting to do treatment, right? That's ultimately their decision, but
Yes.
you can provide them with all the resources and show them, every step of the way, but they ultimately have to kind of make that choice for themselves. So,
They
but
have to
yeah.
want it. Yeah. So, what would you say to someone who is afraid to ask for help, and how do you they contact you? How would they contact you? S- Somebody that's afraid to ask for.
I would say just do it. What do you
Yeah.
have to lose?
Yeah.
What is the alternative, right? Like what is you not asking for help? And once you do reach out, then I'll be able to kind of help you from there. And every step of the way is really going to be that person's choice.
Right.
Um,
So
so
I was not drinking and going to meetings, and that was about all I was doing for about 9 months of my sobriety. And it just came over me that if you don't speak up and ask for help, you're going to die. And
Yeah.
that was when I finally opened my mouth because, who wants to do that? Nobody wants to admit that they can't do something on their own or I don't know. There is a stigma about it. And oh my gosh,
Mhm.
I don't want somebody telling me what to do. I've been self reliant my whole life and I don't trust anybody. There are all sorts of reasons, not to reach out. But ultimately, it's if you don't reach out and open your mouth, you're going to die.
The fear of unknown. The fear of unknown. People are afraid to
yeah.
speak up, and then the stigma besides that. But the fear of unknown, they don't know. They know what they got in their hands and their minds today, but they're afraid to make that step. But you're certainly promoting them to move forward. You got a great operation, and we're real proud of what you're doing. So thank you so much. And John,
And
you're here.
how do we contact you? How would somebody find you?
I believe our website is working right now. Hopefully Edna doesn't get mad at me for saying that, but I can can I just say a phone number to reach
Of
out to?
course.
Sure.
The phone number to call would be 239-372-6141.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you very much.
great.
Thank you,
right?
guys.
Did a great job, man.
Yay.
John, you got anything for us before
I
we?
was wondering, where does your funding come from?
There you go.
I think that's more of like an upper.
Out of your pay grade, you mean?
Yeah,
Out of your
like-
wheelhouse. You did a great job, Daniel. Give Daniel
Yeah.
another round of applause.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that'll just about do it for us tonight. Join us next week when we have a whole new episode. And remember, our musical guest next week, traveling, I was going to say traveling musician, but she is a traveling
Yes.
musician. She's the former winner of the State of Florida singer-songwriter competition and has backed Melissa Etheridge up. Kelly Neff will be right here performing us.
That's
So
right.
have a good night. Stay sober, my friends.
Bye-bye.